Good morning, everyone. Hello, can everyone hear me? Good morning.
We can hear you, David. Good morning.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, David. Good morning.
Can't seem to hear anybody.
David, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Is it me? Hello? Oh, okay. I can't hear anybody. That's why. Like, I'm wondering.
Hi, David. Can you hear us now?
Oh, yes.
Hi, David.
Yeah, hi, morning. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me, David?
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I think we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So yeah, good morning again, everyone. So welcome to today's learning session. I'm trying to stall a bit so that we can have our speaker join us, right? We have a very interesting guest coming up today, so I'm quite eager to hear him speak again. It was at the YouTube event we had last week, and it was quite interesting to listen to, right? And another beautiful thing about him is that it was on our side of the fence, before he crossed over, and so he knows a lot about our troubles and how the agency landscape really works. So yeah, I'm sure he's going to drop some knowledge on us today. Right, really looking forward to that. Just trying to confirm if he's on. Okay. Oh yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us start. So before we go on, right, I would just like to give a quick background of who our guest today is, right? And like I said, it was on our own side of the fence before he switched, right? So he knows a lot about our challenges and our tribulations when it comes to dealing with clients, when it comes to actually, working in an agency, right? So that's really cool. So a bit about him, right? He's a digital marketing professional with over a decade experience, working with the largest advertising agents and brands in Africa. In the last few years, he has played key role in helping some of the largest agencies within and outside Africa build digital capacity, yeah, and capture value online, accelerating the shift to digital. In his current role as agency business manager at Google, right, he's responsible for Google's commercial partnership with large advertising agencies in Africa. He also manages some of fintech, online retail, and real money gaming brands. Prior to Google, he worked as a business development manager at Terragon, a data and marketing tech company. Sure, we all know Terragon, right? So when he's working, is either playing FIFA, watching tech videos on YouTube, or spending time with his almost 2 years old daughter learning and speaking baby language, which I think, some of us in-house might want to take a cue or lessons from. I don't know if Tomisin is in the house. I'm sure he can attest to that. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, so this is how, before he comes on board, this is how we are going to run. Everybody, you have to unmute your mic and clap as we introduce our guest speaker for today, right? So if your hands are not busy, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ayode Akin Femiwa. Come on, guys, unmute your mic. Keep clapping until he speaks or he comes on board. Keep clapping.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
You can. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction, David. And thanks for inviting me to present in this session. Good morning. Hope everyone is well. Hi, Aramide. Hi, Tolani. Good to see you. All right. So I've been invited to share on managing client relationships. So I will just spend the next few minutes, talking about my experience, working with clients in Nigeria, managing relationships, support clients to grow, just some of the principles that guide how we manage client relationships. In Nigeria, our customers can be difficult, can be challenging, and especially when you work at an agency, it's even more demanding because your customers can literally call you at 12 a.m. in the night and they need a report tomorrow morning, or they need a strategy tomorrow morning, right? And you have to respond. You have to be responsive. You have to have something inspiring, something amazing for them. But we know it's not always like that, right? So I'll just share some of the things that some of the ways that we think about client relationships, some of the things that I personally have seen that has worked for me over the years, and maybe we can have some time to talk and answer some questions. So let me share my screen to get started. 1 second.
Hi, Ayode. Before you go on to present your screen, right? I wanted to put you a little bit on the spot. So I mean, as you know, we have family here, and it's good that some members of the team, right? We have gone through your profile, right? But what are other 5 things about you that is not on your profile? We just want to know, just 5 random facts about Ayode.
Wow. Okay. I usually struggle when it comes to all these facts and things. But what's 5 random facts about myself? Random fact, I was born in Sokoto State. For the first few years of my life, the only thing I spoke was Hausa. But today, I don't know any Hausa at all. So that's one. Another fact is I got married to my primary school sweetheart. And when we got married, there was a viral picture of both of us sitting together in primary school and also sitting together, obviously, at our traditional marriage. So you might have seen the picture. I hope you don't see it again because it was everywhere then.
We might need to dig that out.
Can 2 suffice? Can I work with just that 2?
Yeah, so that's 2.
I still need to produce 3 more. Huh.
Yeah.
I live in Lagos, and I also live in the UK. So I'm kind of like in both places. What else?
It seems you are trying not to give too much things away. Eh?
Not really. I'm just like random fact. Let me see. What was the last book I read? Atomic Habits. It's very popular these days. And what's the last movie I watched? The new Star Wars Obi Kenobi. I started watching that over the weekend, so that's 5 random facts.
Actually, that's 4, but let me help you with the last one. Right? What's the best thing for you about working with Google?
I think it's people, really. It's the people you get to work with. You have people from, I mean, on your local team that's in market, you have interesting people from different background, different kind of experiences, but also in the broader team, you also have people who's done different things, who's had different kind of life experiences, and it just really enriches your own experience working in the company. I've had colleagues who were, in the military, who were former snipers. I've had colleagues who were scientists in their past life. I've had people who were creative, creative artists, they were musicians. I've had regular people who's gone through the regular career paths, like myself, worked in other companies. So you just have people from different walks of life. And, when you get to meet and sit down and chat, you hear about their journey, their experiences, and it's just really fascinating and interesting. So I think that's one thing. And then the second part is being in a place like Google, you're kind of you're seeing a lot of technologies emerge. Unfortunately, we don't share we don't share externally, but there's so much the teams are working on. And every Friday we have TGIF where the teams come to present and share about some of the things they're working on, whether it's machine learning or it's a new device that might never launch, or it's just, some iterations they are making to YouTube or to Gmail. Interestingly, about 70% of those things never launch because they are continually being experimented on. But you just see how people are thinking creatively, and that just really inspires you, and you see what can be possible in a place like Nigeria or Africa in a few years' time, right? So I think those are some of the interesting things about working at Google. I can hear you, David. You're muted.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for sharing those facts with us.
Sure.
I think you can take it away now.
Awesome. All right. So let me share my screen. I think we have about 45 minutes to go. So I'll try not to talk too much about the slide. Can you see my presentation now?
Can't see from my side.
Even now? Okay, let me try again. Oh, I need to grant browser screen recording access. Okay, 1 second.
Are you sharing now?
Not yet. I'm trying to grant my browser screen recording access. So just give me a second, please. Screen recording. Okay, there it is. Work. Okay, so I may need to refresh my screen. Please give me a second. So it's kind of
Okay. Hi, are you still on? Is it something we can help present on our side? Hi, Eddie. Hi, Eddie. Can you hear me? Hello. I think it's logged on, but it's.
Good morning again, Ayode. I don't know if you can hear us. I think you may need to leave the call and rejoin.
Yeah, he has actually.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so can I share the presentation with someone so you can help me present? I'm having troubles.
Yeah, yes, please.
Sharing. Okay, let me share with you, David.
Okay, so I just pasted my email in the chat section. You just share to my email.
Okay, thank you. All right, I just did.
All right, send it. Sharing now.
Cool, thank you. Sorry, guys, we don't use Zoom a lot, so I'm struggling with it. All right, so while the presentation is being shared, I'll just share a bit of my own journey and my own experiences, working in the market, working in this industry, and working with clients, and some of my learnings, some of my mistakes, a lot of mistakes. So I started my career at Terragon a few years ago, interestingly, and I joined then as a business development manager. Then digital marketing was kind of in its early days. I think digital marketing is still in its early days in Nigeria, but it was really, really early days back then. That's like 10 years or so, 11 years ago now. And essentially, Terragon at the time was building an ad network, which would let publishers monetize their inventory, that is, make money from their online sites, but also let brands place ads on those publisher sites, right? And then you had a lot of those publishers having their first foray into digital, right? The likes of Punch and Linda KG and Vanguard, etc., were literally just getting started online, right? So a lot of them had just desktop sites, but not mobile sites. So at Terragon, one of the things that we had to do was start my video. Yes. So one of the things that we had to do then at Terragon was to just help these publishers optimize their sites, help them monetize those sites, and also match them with brands who had ads to run at the time. So the company was in its first few years. It was a startup, and my role essentially at the time was to find those advertisers that would put ads on those publisher sites, right? And I remember, I'd literally just browse for advertisers, browse for agencies, schedule meetings, and go into those meetings and just start, pitching and selling the ad network and the solution we offered, right? Some of those clients were kind enough to listen. Some of them, were not so kind enough to listen. And over the years, I've learned some of the things I did differently, but that I did, not too well at the time. But coming to Google, one of the things that for me happened was Google was very big on understanding your customers and solving for your customers. So one of Google's core principles is follow the user and all else will follow. Or sorry, know the user and all else would follow. Right. And that's literally how Google has been able to build a brand that's so popular, and also have apps that are used by billions of people. Today, Google has 7 apps that are used by at least 1 billion people, right? And that's apps like YouTube, Gmail, Android, Google Search, Google Maps. These are platforms that have at least 1 billion users on the platform every other month and are used globally. And if one of those apps go down, you'll see an outrage on Twitter. That doesn't happen by chance. I've been involved with some fintechs and some startups, trying to build products in Nigeria, and there's a lot of them these days. And if you've worked with any of them, you know how difficult it is to get even one user to use the platform every day, right? Not to talk about 100 users or 1,000 users or 1 million users. In fact, what you need to get your platform or your app, and I'm sorry I digress, but I'll come back to the topic. What you need to get your app to 100 users monthly is different from what you need to get them to 1,000 users, to 1 million users, to 1 billion users, right? There's a lot of understanding the user need. There's a lot of solving for their pain points. There's a lot of understanding what's a painkiller and what's a vitamin. A painkiller is a problem that needs to be solved. Like, it's critical, it's giving me headache, I can't sleep, you have to solve this problem, right? While a vitamin is a nice to have, it enriches my experience, it's having nice interface and all of that. I can do without a vitamin, but I can't do without a painkiller, right? And so for me, why I'm talking about this is that to build an app to get to 1 billion users and build multiple apps to be used by billions of users is not fluke. It doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen by having nice designs or having the best technology. It happens by understanding your users and solving for them, right? And if you don't understand your users and solve for them daily and deliver experiences that solve their painkillers as well as the vitamins, then very quickly your users will churn and your users will leave. Right? And I believe the same principles can be applied to managing client relationships. Because at the end of the day, your client is your user, right? I can see it. Yes, thank you. I can see it. I can see the cover slide, right? So your client is your user at the end of the day, and your goal is to build a strong relationship with your clients, get your client to see you as a trusted partner, and hopefully grow your business, with your clients, right? So grow your client's business, but also grow your own business. Because at the end of the day, you're not a charity organization, you are a company, you need to make money, but you only make money when your client is satisfied, right? So it's a tricky relationship, but if it's done well, you can really be successful. Also, besides Google having apps that are used by billions of users, Google has business that that's growing year on year. I think in the last earnings call, Google made maybe over 50 or 60 billion dollars in revenue in a single quarter. Again, that doesn't happen by chance. It happens by understanding your customers, delivering experiences, product, services that solve for the problems that your customers are having, right? So again, this presentation will not be exhaustive, but I'll just try to provide as much insight as possible and hopefully have some time to discuss more. So if you could please go to the next slide. One of the first places that I think it's important for us to start from is really with questioning, right? One of the mistakes I made in my early days was I'd usually go into presentations and into client meetings with, I have a solution for you. You need to listen to my solution. You need to, buy into it and let's get started. I didn't spend enough time understanding my clients, understanding my customer, understanding their business, understanding their pain points, right? And you'd find that, even if you get your client to work with you, there are things that you would not know that would be beneficial to the relationship and to the partnership. But you would have missed out because you didn't take your time to ask those questions, right? So one of the first places that I want to start today's session on is really with effective questioning, right? Next slide, please. So, have you ever gotten out of a client meeting and you felt like you didn't get enough information, or you should ask at least one more question, or gotten one more clarification on something, right? I think this is a lot of us, right? You have meetings with your clients, and I feel like, I should have asked this question, or I should have clarified on this, or I'm not sure what the client meant when he said this, right? It happens a lot to a lot of us, and this can easily be solved if we took time to think about the right questions to ask, and ensure we ask them, and also go layers deep. For me, one of the things that have changed the way I work and has improved the way I partner with my clients is when I'm going into a meeting, I try to lead with what's the right questions to ask, right? What do I need to get out of this client that would enrich my own conversation or my own proposal back to this client? So I take my time to think about what's the right questions, right? Because it's easy to say, oh, let's just ask any questions, but they're good. People say there's nothing like a stupid question. Actually, there are stupid questions, and you don't want to ask your client stupid questions. You want to have done some research, and your questions should be off the back of some of those research that you've done. Right. For instance, I could go into a meeting, maybe it's one of my first few meetings with a client. These days, I don't just work with agencies alone. I now look after some of our clients. A lot of them are fintechs and real money gaming customers. And with fintechs, for instance, especially the big ones, they are very big on efficiency. They are very big on ROI. Right. So going into a meeting, you need to have done your own study. I need to have found out what area of the fintech space are they playing in? What's their product? Who are they competing with? What's their user base? What's their last funding round? How long has that been? How frequently do they raise their financing? That will start to give you an insight, an idea into some of the priorities of the client, such that when I'm going into the meeting, I'm armed with enough information to ask the right question, right? And it's really important that we spend that time doing that background research, because, and even if it's not a client that you're pitching in as a new client, even if it's a client that you manage every other day, every other week, still, you still want to be an expert, because that's what you're being paid for. You're not being paid to just do as you're told. You're being paid to be a consultant. You're being paid to offer, insights, strategies, ideas, and recommendations that they don't already have. All right, next slide, please. So, how do you ask the right questions? How do you think about your questioning? There's a hierarchy of questions, right? That starts from a low value to a high value, right? Typically, you'll find that at the low value side of the pyramid, the questions would yield more to a yes or no answer, right? Do you have an app in the App Store? Do you have an Android app? Do you have an iOS app? The answer will probably be yes and no, right? But you want to go a step higher and ask, oh, where, when, who, right? Who are you targeting with your app, right? When did you release your app? Where is your app available? What are the services, right? Going a step higher, what are the services that are available? How do users access those services? What are the most used services? etc. Right? And then obviously at the top of the pyramid is the why. Why do you have an app? Why do you have an iOS app? Why do you have an Android app? Why do you have these services available on the app? Right? Why are you offering this service, this product over this product? Right? Why are you targeting this particular audiences? Right? You want to take your time to go, from the low value side of the pyramid to the high value side of the pyramid, where you're asking why. Right? And asking why is just the first step. If you could please go to the next slide. There's something called the 5 whys, right? Where if I ask you why up to 5 times, I might start to uncover the real reason behind why you're doing this thing. For instance, if I ask you, hey, why do you exercise? You might come back to me and say, it's because it's healthy. Okay, I might stop there and say, okay, this guy exercises because it's healthy, right? So how do I help you be more healthy? Or how do I help you find exercises or food or whatever that will make you more healthy? But ideally, you want to go a step deeper and ask, why is it healthy? Oh, because it raises my heart rate. Why is that important? So that I can burn more calories. Why do you want to do that? So that I can lose weight. Well, why are you trying to lose weight? So, because I feel social pressure to look fit and to have a beach body. And you can see how by asking why enough times, it doesn't mean you always have to ask why. You probably need to phrase the questions differently, but you start to get You start to uncover the real reason why the customer is really asking what they're asking or doing what they're doing, and it's important. Someone said the last time I asked a client this much wise, they flipped. Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to just asking you. I think I would also flip too if you're asking just why. I was like, dude, why are you asking me why? Right. But it's, phrasing it differently. For instance, it started with why do you exercise? So why is that important? So why do you want to do that? It doesn't even mean that you have to just stay on this one question. I can say, okay, so you want to burn more calories. Why is it important that you burn calories, right? It could also mean that you ask a separate question, a different question, still along this line of thought that uncovers other things, right? So it's being smart. As I mentioned earlier, there's such a thing as a stupid question, right? And there's such a thing as a smart question. And obviously, customers like smart questions that make them pause and think, right? Questions that makes them say, I've never thought about that. Or it's interesting that you asked that question, right? And even you yourself, like, when you've asked, and sometimes it takes practice, right?